Shivratri is a night where we meditate on the self. The path of Shiva is the inner path. It is not an outer path. And we all need to go within us. The real Shiva is inside. Shivoham is not outside, it's inside. The real self has nothing to do with what the five senses are consuming. It is all an experience that comes when you go deep within yourself and when you are lost in your own self. This is what we need to understand, that everything is within. If you're listening to something good, you have to listen with your eyes closed. It needs to go in, but our five senses are engaged outside all the time. And so therefore, we're not training ourselves to go within us. We are reinforcing by our habits to look outside. And this is a change that we need to make, that the whole treasure is inside. How will we get when we are looking constantly outside and we are listening to others? We are listening to others only so that it encourages us to go deeper within. So this treasure is not to be found outside at all. So if we touch a lingam, if we see a lingam, if we see a manifestation of that, it's not going to make any difference at all. And you see, these things, watching outside, was prescribed for us in our early days of sadhana, so that we get bhava, we get the devotion in us towards God and God's unlimited compassion and God's omnipotence, God's omnipresence. But once we are convinced of that, we have to now experience that God inside us, within. So by going outside, you're not going to get anything inside. To get something which is inside of us, we have to go within us. So everything has to be a springboard to go inside and inside, but our actions are still continuously, predominantly outside of us. So that understanding needs to come. You have to go to a new syllabus. If you keep reading the old syllabus while sitting in a new class, a higher class, then you're not doing justice to any of them. So that we must recognize, assimilate, integrate inside of us that understanding that all is within us. And so all these opportunities are so that at such places your mind does get still. Your thoughts will start getting stiller. But if they're getting stiller and you're not going inside, then that stillness will scatter away. What is happening outside, at other places, how does it matter to us? God is here. I am more interested not that what is God doing in X place or a Y place or a Z place. I'm more interested what God within me is doing. I can listen to some sweet melodies, bhajans, yes, and I am going deep inside into that bhava and I am experiencing the Shiva inside. It's all within. Then why are my five senses going out? I wanted to enjoy Shiva bhajans. I put on the best Shiva bhajans. How does it matter when they were played, when they were recorded, who recorded them? I wanted to listen to those melodies and I wanted to get lost in it. I'm listening for that reason, because I can experience the Ananda inside. It's all here. Meditation to get us inside and connected to this gold inside. Shiva for millions of years was in meditation because he was in Ananda inside. A Sati had to come, a Parvati had to come to take him out and say, come on, get out of that. The Shiva Shakti principle then came together. So this focus of our lives has to go within now. And we have to ask ourselves a question at every stage. Is my sadhana an outward sadhana? Or is it an inner sadhana? So the focus of our sadhana has to turn within. If touching the feet and doing pada seva is getting you connected with your deep self inside and is giving you the experience, then it is doing what it must do. But if it is just a ritual, that I am doing this and there is no bhava there, my feet are still feet. Whoever touches with their bhava, with whatever bhava they touch it with whatever devotion they have, they will get that experience. And the one who comes with that will experience it instantly. So it's yat bhavam tat bhava. What are we doing? We are building that bhava inside. Everything is inside. Nothing is outside. When we sit on a call, on a Zoom call, sitting hundreds and thousands of miles away, then also people just connect and they start getting that experience. Because it's a bhava they're ready to receive. Sometimes physically when we are so close, we're not able to receive it because it's always there because our five senses are involved and engaged. But if you approach it with that bhava all the time, that what a sacred opportunity I have. Remember what Baba used to tell you, that look, you will not recognize the opportunity you have. And as you rightly said, maybe next time this opportunity doesn't come at all. Maybe things are going to change so dramatically. Are we taking full advantage of what we are getting, or are we stuck in a routine of ours which just makes it so mechanical? If that understanding comes in, if that connection with what I am seeking comes in, and I see the opportunity that I have, every minute you can experience such great ananda. Are we fully present in the moment? That is really the whole idea of this vigil of Shivratri night. That is why we actually say, be awake, not to sing and dance, but to go inside and get that connection. And once that connection is established, nothing can shake it. Whatever world news comes, we know what's going to happen, it's okay. Closing our ears and saying, I'm not going to listen to that, doesn't make a difference. That means listening to it will trouble me, I will get worried. I'm not worried. I'm listening to it because I should know what's going on. And I'm not just merely listening, I also have my own understanding of what's coming. Nothing outwardly should worry you at all. Why should it worry? It is as it is. Everything is perfect. That's why I say this is not a time of destruction, it's a time of great transformation. And the biggest transformation is going to happen inside us. We are going to change. And the whole idea of the outer transformation is so that we can change within. We're still taking things for granted. Our way is still not changing. Without us changing, how can the world change? It's a question we must ask ourselves. We want the world should become beautiful, but are we beautiful inside? And that is what we are trying to do. If each heart starts becoming beautiful, fully surrendered, fully experiencing that love, the world will change, the world will become full of love. Instead of trying to see what's happening outside, that's why we say this is an inner path. As the inner joy starts to spread, the outer joy will happen. So use every opportunity to propel inside, to propel within, to go deep and deep and deep and deep inside. And that's where the joy lies. So your joy is in my hands. Joy is not in anybody's hands. Joy is my inner feeling. And therefore, I am in joy all the time. Joy to me is not coming by doing any external thing. I am equally joyful while cooking. I am equally joyful when I meditate. I am equally joyful by myself. I am equally joyful when I am with everyone. I have no preference left. I am equally joyful when I walk alone. I am equally joyful when I am walking in a group. Because if I have a particular way of life, then I am stuck in my habit, in my pattern, in my routine. That makes me intolerant, that makes me get into likes and dislikes. I don't want to be caught in that any longer. I want to be free from all this so that I can do what I want to do. I want to be spontaneous. That is the new way of life. That is the supramental way of being. There are traditional ways, of doing yagnas, and they are ritualistic ways of how yagna has to go and what has to be chanted. That's correct. But that doesn't mean that a pure heart cannot do something simply and, which is equally powerful. So, it's yad bhavam tad bhavati. You experienced what we did yesterday in our own yagna. In our own limited way we did it, but we did it with our own full purity. We thought what was important, what came to us, we did. And look at the messages that are coming from everybody, how powerfully they were impacted by it. That's it. In simplicity. We're not to get caught in ritualism. We have to do what comes from within, from that pure love, from the purity of our heart. All external things should bring us purity of our heart. So that this love is not tainted. This love is accepts. It accepts others' mistakes. It accepts others' everything. It just doesn't. Because outside when we look, we see separation. But when we close our eyes and meditate, where is separation left? Everything becomes one. So why should I divide myself? Why shouldn't I just connect to everyone and say, you're mine and I love you? And why does that feeling change when I open my eyes? Because I don't like what others do, their way of doing things I don't like. No, why should I be bothered? I just accept. If that is going to bother me, then there is a problem. I am joy, acceptance, tolerance, not being impacted by anything. Not being impacted by anything. That's how a yogi is, that's how a detached person is. That's how we need to be. So use the external things only to take you inside. Don't get caught onto the external things. So that's the significance of Shivratri and Shiva, and of being in a place where you are now being shown another way of doing it. Because you're ready for it, that's how you have reached here. Because you are now ready, your soul is yearning for that higher. But if you're here, then be here fully. And the mind will initially say, because the environment is changing, the climate is changing, the silence is changing, the food is changing. The mind will say, come, let's go, run back. But you have to say, no, I've come here. I must go through what I have to go through. And then slowly it starts to subside. Mind's job is just this. Resist change. Resist anything that's new. And no, I accept this. I've chosen to be. Let me experience it fully, what it has to offer me. And that's how one by one the change comes. And the place and the vibration and the energy of the place that you are in will definitely be working on you. Make use of it fully. And let your senses, 5 senses, don't dull you and take things for granted. That's a delusion they create. And so go back again to that same statement of Swami, that you don't know the opportunity you've got. Because that time we lose it. We think it's it's available to us. It happened with all of us. We take things for granted. We think, oh, it's so accessible. Then suddenly one day it is not. And then we think about them. Then we live with our memories and say, oh, I used to do this. I got this opportunity. What's the use of that? When you got it, you did not take advantage of that. So that is what it means, being in the present moment. Don't know myself, what's going to happen the next moment. Why should I be stuck to anything? That's why we say, that's why my master said, come to me detached. That detachment is okay. Whatever is going to come, I'm going to accept it. And I am happy with that. It's not either this way or that way, it is any way. That's why we call it the pathless path. There's no path. Whatever comes, we will figure out. Whatever comes, we will be happy. Whatever comes, I am in my peace. No matter what happens, we will love everybody because we have understood. We have understood that everyone is part of us. And therefore we know that the five senses rob us, they waylay us, they are like robbers. They make us slip from our love for all. So therefore, we do not let the five senses now dictate terms for us. Every time anything outside troubles us, we close our eyes and we say, no, that's not the truth. We are unconsciousness. We are love. That's why yesterday the message that I gave for Shivratri was this, that the darkness that we talk about is the darkness of us thinking that we are an individual or our sense of separateness. That darkness needs to be removed. How? We need to cross over using the bridge of pure love to reach the land of one consciousness, oneness, which is Shivoham. So we are praying to that Shiva, remove this darkness of individuality and make us be in the land of one consciousness where everything is just one. And to be able to do that, we must cross and walk on the bridge of pure love, which is selfless. And when we do that, then only this reality will happen, then only this heart will experience that, then only this world is going to shift. And to make that happen is why this outer world has to change. That's why Shiva is dancing now. Because we are not doing it ourselves, it's going to be done for around us, and so that we will have right now we have a choice to go within us. Free will has been given, but not many are using it. But tomorrow, the external circumstances are going to be created such that everybody will be forced to go within. Those who will remain. Because they are busy in other things, outward senses. They have to be they're also our own. And life and death is just a play. So how do you get their attention? And say, hello, listen, you've not been listening. You're too engaged outward. So the outer has to start changing. It's beautiful. You know it's coming. You can see it's coming. And to see it, then finally witness it without getting impacted, you'll see it. It's a play. You get worried, you get anxious only when you're attached to things. Why should you be worried? You see it as a drama. That is the consciousness we have to reach. That's why this energetic play and this jnana of one consciousness, they have to come together. That is the Shiva Shakti coming together. I keep saying that one in isolation creates a challenge. Pure jnana makes you dry. Pure energy makes you delusional. But both come together, Shiva and Shakti. And then that is when it gets integrated. It's a very beautiful time. It's coming. We must be joyous and we say, okay. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti,